everyone, I'm Mind, and this is set number 60367, Passenger Airplane from the LEGO City theme. This set contains 913 pieces, 7 minifigures, and retails for $119.99 in the US. This set's not officially released until September 1st, 2023, but it was sent to me early by the LEGO Group through the LEGO Ambassador Network, but all opinions expressed in this video are my own. So here's the main build of this set, of course the passenger airplane itself, and we have gotten a lot of sets sorta like this over the years. Now, at least personally, this is my first time getting a full-size minifigure scale airplane, and I have to say, it is very cool to finally have one of these in hand. Because when I was a kid, this was the kind of thing I'd always look at in the LEGO magazines but never had the chance to get, but the LEGO Ambassador Network was kind enough to send it to me, and it very much feels like a childhood dream come true. But of course, I am a little bit older now, and I look at LEGO sets with a more critical lens than I did when I was a kid, because of course I'm reviewing them for you guys. So is this set actually any good? Well, let's take a look up a little bit closer. The design of the plane on the outside is simple, but it is kind of meant to be. It's meant to be based on a real-life plane, and real-life planes don't have too much going on. They are just sort of long tubes. And this set uses a lot of large pieces to capture that shape, but it also does a pretty good job of it. I especially love the giant molded part for the windscreen out the front, and you can see it's white dome molded with translate blue to be like little windows right here. Then in the passenger seating area, there's windows that continue all the way down the back. And I do like these stickered logos at the top that just say the word air and it's got like a picture of a bird on it. That's of course on both sides of the plane. And then even if we come down to the very back, you can see there's 2 more stickers back here, or I guess 4 total, 2 on each side, and they continue that design of like the wings of the bird. The wings of the plane are almost entirely just one giant part. This wing, the body of the plane, and the wing on the other side are literally one piece. If I turn it upside down, you can see it a little bit better, so you can see like this section right here is one piece, this right here is one piece, but this entire section in the middle right here, that has the wings coming off of it, and those wings don't like slot in or anything, it's all just one giant mold. There are of course the bricks built underneath it right here and also on each wing, but even still, it's rare that I ever see a piece that big being used in a set. Now, despite being $120, this is a 7+ set, so it's meant to be pretty easy for kids to build, so I get using one giant piece. However, at least personally, I think I would have preferred if the wings were separate and sort of just slotted in with maybe Technic pins, because they still could have been giant pieces, but I think I would have preferred 3 giant pieces as opposed to just one, because I don't know, at least personally, the wing pieces felt maybe a little out of place in LEGO. I will say I do appreciate how they took care to texture the wings a little bit, they just didn't use the solid piece. We've got some slope pieces at the front right here to create a transition from the body into the wing, as well as some slanted plates on the wing to create some more texture. The wings on each side are exactly identical, just mirrored. And then at the very end, to be the tips of the wings, there's like this green Technic paneling, which honestly I don't think looks the best. I like the idea of adding some color down here, but I think they should have stuck with plates, because going from plates to Technic just doesn't really work in my opinion. I do like how there's little lights here though, there's a red one on this side and a green one on the other side. And then of course under the wing we have these giant brick-built jet engines. These I actually think look really good. I like the touches of lime green here. And something that's really interesting about these that I wasn't expecting, you can see there's like these metallic blades in the center, and I was fully expecting that to be a sticker, but no, that's actually a printed part, and you get a total of 2 of it in this set. I'm pretty sure that's all new for this set, and that's a fantastic one to get. I could see that being really useful for customs. But yeah, I think the thrusters overall have a really great shape. They fit in quite well with everything else. And now finishing off the exterior of the plane, here's the wings at the back, and I have to say this is probably my least favorite part of the entire build. They're not bad by any means, but I feel like they're not nearly as strong as the rest of the build. They come up at like a 45-degree angle, which I feel like is kind of a weird look. I'm sure there is planes in real life that do look like this. I'm sure some of the people in the comments can tell me what those are. But I feel like the most recognizable types of plane has the back wings sort of out straight like the front wings, so they're just smaller. And then there's also like a larger tail back here. And that's just not really present on this plane, and I think it probably would have looked better. But even beyond that, like this not being the most recognizable type of plane, even if you take it as like, okay, this is how a plane's supposed to look, I still don't love this connection system. The wings themselves are raised up high, so you're constantly looking at these anti-studs which just don't look the best. And the way they're connected on isn't the prettiest either. And I think it's also a pretty harsh difference between the front wings and the back wings, because the front wings use these like giant molded pieces, so there's only a few studs showing, it's mostly smooth. So when the back wings are completely covered in studs, it feels maybe a little bit archaic. It seems to me what a LEGO set in like 2008 would do, which is fine for a set in 2008, but the thing is that set would have had that on all the wings. So with this one, it kind of just feels like the front wings and the back wings don't go together the best. But I think that's about all I have to show you for the outside of the plane. We may come back to it in a moment, but now let's actually get this opened up and take a look at what's inside. So there's quite a few ways this can open, and it's like 2 different categories of opening. There's the ways it opens in-universe, and then also the ways that it opens for play. What I mean by in-universe is like ways that minifigures could actually theoretically open it, such as this door right here. This door could pull off and slide out, and that's where your minifigures can actually enter the plane. On the opposite side of that door, there's another door right here, though this one's a bit smaller, minifigures can't fit through here, but this is where other stuff could be loaded in, such as the catering for the plane. And then finally, to end off the like in-universe openings, there's the back right here with this logo on it, and this entire section can be flipped open. This is where the luggage is meant to be stored. You can see there's this giant crate right here which can be removed, and it's just got a ton of open space in it for minifigure accessories. You can do that from either side too. You can see the other side opens up just the same, and you can very easily move that container in and out. But then of course, as I said, the plane also opens up for play, so let me show you all the different sections that detach. You can take off the giant nose of the plane at the front right here, and the entire roof of the main body of the plane. This gives you access to all of the interior, so now let's look at it up closer. Starting with the pilot's quarters, you can see there's 2 seats seats right here, of course, one for each of the pilots in this set. In front of them, they have some controls to the plane. You can see they use gray battle droid bodies right here, and these can also be flipped down and moved if you want. And behind that, there's 2 printed console pieces. Moving back behind that, you can see this is where the main door opened up, and there's like a tiny little archway to get from the main entrance area into the captain's quarters. In this main entrance area, though, you can see there's 2 classic mailbox or container pieces, and these, of course, can be opened up and stuff can be stored in there. This is also where that smaller door is that I showed you. It can be opened up and stuff can be passed through right here. And then after that, we come to the actual passenger seating area, so you can see there's a total of 12 different seats in the plane, so you can have 12 different minifigures right at once, plus 2 more for the pilots. And something that I wasn't expecting, but it's actually quite cool, is they actually have first class and economy class back here. You can see the first class seats have the dark blue chairs, and they have a little bit more legroom. They have a total of 2 studs in front of them, while the standard seats only have 1. And most of the first class seats actually have a printed screen in front of them, I guess, to like watch movies or whatever, but the regular seats don't get any of that. Unfortunately, this first class seat doesn't get that screen, I guess because it's in the way of the doorway. That is a little bit unfortunate, but I guess it's not a big deal, and it's something that's easy to customize if you want. It's small, but I actually think that's a really cool touch with the difference in legroom and everything. Definitely makes for a more realistic build overall. There's nothing too crazy going on in the center of the plane though besides those seats, except for this at the very back right here. And if you've ever been on a plane, you know what this is. This is of course the bathroom on the plane, because every LEGO set nowadays for some reason has to come with a bathroom. I mean, it is accurate to what a plane should have, but I do find it very funny how common these are in sets in recent years. Anyway, you can see this door opens right here to get inside, and the interior here is nothing too crazy. The toilet is literally just 2 stacked 2x2 rounded plates, and the sink build's small but actually pretty cute, but there's not much else to it than that. Really not much room in here for your figures to get around, but again, I guess that is pretty accurate to what it's like on planes. And that's about it for the interior. The only other interior is this cargo space right here, but of course you already saw that. And I guess you could fit figures in there if you want to fit some more, but I don't think that in universe that's the most safe. And I think that's most of what I have to show you with this plane, at least for now. There's a few more things you could do, but those tie in with the side builds of the set, so we'll look at that when we look at those side builds. I guess I should probably show you the landing gear, like the wheels at the bottom. Of course, this can roll around a little bit for when it's landing, and you can see it's just got this 1 double wheel at the front which can swivel, and then 2 of these wheel builds at the back which are underneath the wings, and these are sort of locked in place. If this has the amount of motion on those wheels that it needs, it feels like exactly how a plane should roll around. But anyway, now let's take a look at the side builds in this set. So here's the first side build in this set, this little vehicle that drives the luggage around. This is actually built in 2 separate sections. We have the main build at the front and then the luggage attachment at the back. And that second section just connects all of the mini ball joints, so that can be very easily removed if you want. The front section though looks like the exact type of vehicle you'd expect to see at the airport. It's got the little lights at the top to make itself visible, a sticker with like some warning tape, and you can see there's a seat right here for a minifigure to sit, and in the back there's 2 orange cone pieces which can be removed, and you can place them down just to mark a path for the plane or for the passengers. But then the second section of course has a luggage container, and this can also very easily be removed. It just connects on with a few jumper pieces, and you can see this is the exact same build as the luggage container in the actual plane. So if you want, when you're playing with the set, you can remove the luggage container from the plane and replace it with this instead, so that way you can have 2 separate ones, one for the people getting off the plane and one for the people getting on the plane. And while the one on the plane is empty by default, this one actually does have 2 pieces of luggage in here. We just have like this standard LEGO backpack piece in red, and then the classic LEGO briefcase piece in brown. There's nothing inside the briefcase, but if you haven't seen it before, these can open up, and getting the backpack in red here is pretty cool, because that's not a new part by any means, but I don't think it comes in a ton of sets in this color. Personally, the first time I ever saw it was in this year's LEGO Dream sets, so it's cool to see that in this color in other themes. It might come in other LEGO City sets too, I'm not entirely sure about that, but regardless, it's a good part to get. But yeah, of course, you can also fill this up with luggage from your own collection. These are just the 2 pieces you have by default. And then you can see there's another mini ball socket right here at the end of this section. That's because you actually have 2 different options to put there. The first is this, a little stair build to actually allow the passengers to get onto the plane. So you can connect it with everything else to actually move it out to the plane. But then when you have the plane in place, you can just load the stairs up like this right here, and that just leaves us loose in front of the plane so passengers can get on and off. Unfortunately, there's no way for this to really connect. It's probably very easy to customize that if you want, but by default it just sits here. There's no place for that ball socket to connect, and there's not enough studs for the stairs to connect at the top. And then the other option for the back of this vehicle is this right here. This is like a little catering truck, and it's got 2 stickers on it, one on each side with a picture of a chef in an airplane, and the idea is that this holds the food and the drink for the flight. So you would load this up next to the plane's smaller door and push in on this red piece right here, and that'll actually lift the box up to get it closer to the plane's level. Then there's 2 doors here, one on each side, and those can of course be opened up, and inside you have a little bit of food and drink. I would have liked if the set came with a little bit more, just because I think it would have been more fun for play. But yeah, you can see there's a single soda can as well as a mug, and this entire crate connects on with one of these loose Technic pins, so it's very easy to knock it over. So that way with the door open, you can pour out what's inside super easily. So this build's not too crazy, but I really just love how much you get here. They do a great job of just simulating all the different features of an airport. But that's about it for that modular vehicle with the different sections, so now here's an entirely different side build, and this is a little shuttle bus to take the passengers from the plane back to the airport. This is another super cute touch, and I actually really like the design of this one. It feels very modern, the colors are very pretty, and I especially love the big open trans blue windows. The roof can easily be removed if you want better access inside. You can see there's room for quite a few minifigures in there. Definitely can't fit an entire plane's worth, but maybe half the plane. And yeah, you can see these giant windows at the front right here are actually doors that could swing upwards. And you're able to do that on both sides of the shuttle. The shuttle is also symmetrical, the front and the back are exactly the same, and they both use the stickered headlight piece. This is a fantastic inclusion in this set, in my opinion. And then here's the final side build in the set, another vehicle. This is called a pushback tug, and it's basically a vehicle that connects to the plane to help guide it around. Definitely a very interesting design for this one. Comparing it to the real life equivalent, it does maybe seem a little bit off, but I'm sure there is many different ways to build this thing. It feels almost kind of sports car-esque though, which is very strange. I do like getting this part back here though, because it reminds me of Lego Power Miners, which was one of my favorite themes as a kid, and this part was used in a lot of the sets back then. But yeah, you can see there's a seat right here for a minifigure to sit, sticker piece right here, and there's the Technic hole at the front for it to connect to the plane. So you can see the plane itself has a Technic pin at the front wheel, so you can connect that to the pushback tug right here, click it into place, and there we go, now it can help move the plane around. It's probably my least favorite of the side builds in this set, but hey, I'm glad it's still included. It just gives you more stuff to help replicate what happens in an actual airport. These pieces on the side are also stickers, by the way, which is an appreciated touch. And then finally for the builds, I don't think I showed off this, but this is like a little food and drink cart to go down the aisle. You can see it has yet another mug as well as a soda can right here, but I really don't have too much else to say on that. Now let's take a look at the minifigures that come in the set, and here are the first two pilot minifigures. We just have a female pilot and a male pilot, and you can see they're mostly the same figure. The only difference is the face prints and the hair pieces. The torsos on these two are actually really good. I love this sort of aqua color. That's a color that Lego doesn't use all too often for torso pieces, so it definitely helps these guys stand out. But then the actual design is great. I mean, it looks exactly how a pilot's uniform should look. I especially like the little emblem they have on the sides. Face prints on these two are nothing all too special. The female face print is very common in like the police sets, and then this is a face that's used for generic civilians all the time. And unfortunately, there's no alternate faces on either of them. However, I will say their hair pieces in this set are actually really good. The male hair piece is Ollie's from Lego Friends, and obviously not everybody is a Lego Friends fan, so this is a nice way to get that hairpiece outside of that theme. And I actually think it looks quite good on this guy. And then the female hairpiece is really good too. It's like this curly hair in a bun, and that has come in a few sets before, but I'm not sure if this is an all-new recolor for this set. I've definitely seen it in dark brown before, but I think black potentially is all new, or maybe I'm just not remembering what other sets that comes in. Regardless though, it's a great color for that part, and one I'm very happy to see. Both of these figures are fantastic for what they're trying to be. Here are the next two minifigures in the set, two passengers, and I'm pretty sure that both of these have all new exclusive parts, which I actually think are really good. Starting with a female character, the part that I'm pretty sure is new on her is that torso piece. I've never seen that before, I could be wrong about that, but at the very least it's not a common one. But it's a design of outfit we don't see Lego do all too often, and I like the colors on it too, with the teal, the yellow, and like the coral color. The hairpiece on this figure is really great as well, because just like one of the pilots, this hairpiece is actually from Lego Friends, though this time around it's from Autumn, the new main character of Lego Friends. As I mentioned with the other hairpiece though, it always makes me happy to see when Lego Friends hairpieces come in full-size sets, so this is definitely a great one to get here. Face print is pretty generic, it comes in tons of sets, but that's fine. And then she's got like this lighter blue color for her pants, which I actually think is a pretty good one to get. There's a look at the full back torso print if you're curious. And the one last thing I want to mention about this is that the yellow printing is actually really vibrant. It looks great. A lot of times in recent years, yellow printing on Lego minifigures will be a little bit off-colored and won't really match like the color of the head and the arms. But no, this is pretty darn close. This is how the printing should look. So it makes me happy to see that was done so well. Yeah, this is a really good minifigure all around. And then the guy on the right definitely looks like he's traveling. I'm not sure if that torso print's new, but you can see it's like a sweatshirt with a bag over top of it. Not the most useful torso in my opinion, but I feel like it fits the context of this set. That's a really good hairpiece on him though. I believe that was originally introduced on Lego Overwatch a few years ago. And it's been coming in sets in other colors very slowly since then, but getting it in brown here is definitely really nice. However, the best part about this figure is for sure that face print. You can see the one side of the face he's actually got a sleep mask on and it has a bunch of Z's on it. But then the alternate face is actually also really good. He's got these sort of sleepy looking eyes and these big eyebrows. And maybe it's just me, but I feel like this kind of looks like Cole from Ninjago. Obviously the eyebrows are a little bit off, but the eyes and the facial expression I feel like would really work for Cole. Specifically like Sons of Garbon Cole I think this would be perfect for. So potentially a very cool new expression in that sense. But yeah, these two are both really good minifigures and great inclusions in this set. Then here are the next two minifigures, two more passengers. And this one on the left is once again super cool because this figure actually isn't exclusive to this set. This entire figure also comes in the Lego City Downtown set from earlier this year. And she was meant to be the character in that set that was staying in the hotel in that set. And she came with the same luggage bag and the same exact outfit. And I always love when Lego City does this where they tell a story across multiple sets. So I assume the idea is that this character lands on this plane and then she goes and stays in the hotel in the other set. So it's very cool that there's two different ways to get her. But even beyond that, this is just an amazing minifigure. I'm pretty sure both that torso print and that face print are all new and exclusive for this figure, and both are really good. The torso is of course like this tan jacket on top of a black sweater, and that just looks nice in general. But then this face print's fantastic, one of the best like generic Lego City faces I've seen. Glasses faces are always less common than non-glasses faces, so they're always nice to get, and the red frames are a really fun touch. And then she's also one of the few Lego City figures to actually have an alternate face too, where you can see her mouth's a little scrunched up and she seems confused. Hairpiece is awfully generic, but that's fine for a generic civilian. And then she also comes with a larger suitcase accessory, which can also be opened up, and you can store a little bit of something in there. So yeah, another one of my favorites in this set. And then this final passenger is definitely the least interesting of the bunch because he doesn't have like any new or exclusive pieces. All of these pieces on this guy are pretty common, but that's perfectly alright. That is still a good hairpiece on him, and the face print's okay. That torso print's incredibly common, but it's not a bad one. And olive green's at least an interesting color for pants. I do like his accessory of this brick-built camera with like a cooking pot at the top for the lens. That's a very fun use of that part, but I really don't have much else to say on this guy. Happy he's here, but he's just fine. And then here are the final three minifigures in this set, and they're all just generic workers at the airport. And you can see they're all very similar. They have the same exact unprinted legs, very similar torsos between the three. These two are exactly identical, and this one's slightly different. But then they each have their own face print and then helmet or hairpiece. The high-vis vests do look good, though. They obviously use neon yellow with metallic silver on top, and that's pretty much the perfect way to represent that in minifigure form. I do like how the girl in the end has a walkie-talkie that gives her a little bit more to do. And then the face prints on these two are fairly generic. They just have like the orange safety glasses on and then just a male face and a female face. But then the final one's a little more interesting because she actually has a hearing aid in her ear, which is something we've been getting in LEGO City sets for the past few years, which is always nice to see, of course. I don't believe that's new nor exclusive, but definitely appreciated. And then there is a little more to these helmet pieces than just the generic helmets. The male figure actually has headphones over his helmets, I assume to shield his ears from the sounds of the plane. I'm not sure if that piece is new for this figure. Personally, I don't believe I've had it before, but I just have a feeling that's not new. And then the female figure does not have the headphones, but she does have a ponytail at the back, and that piece was introduced all the way back with the LEGO movie, but it's nice to see it still coming in sets. Not the most common in the world. So yeah, these are probably the least interesting figures in this set, but they make sense to be here, and they're definitely good inclusions just to build out your LEGO world. And so, overall, what are my thoughts on this set? I honestly think this set's really great. First, I want to talk about the price, and it actually doesn't seem that bad to me. 900 pieces for 120 doesn't sound great, but it also doesn't sound like the worst thing we've ever gotten. Like, there's Ninjago sets nowadays with that price per part, but the thing that this has that those sets don't have is there's a ton of big pieces used here. Like, as I mentioned, both giant wings are one piece, and the entire windscreen is one piece. So based on the actual physical size of this thing, when I was building it up, I assumed it was going to be like 150 or even 180. So just the size of this thing for what you get, 120 definitely doesn't feel bad. I also love how much you get in this set. Like, it's not just the plane, right? You have all the different add-ons. You got the catering truck, the stairs to get on and off, the shuttle to get back to the airport. It just feels like there's a ton to play with here, and it makes a fantastic toy for kids. But even if you're an older collector, if you have like a built-out LEGO City and you want an airport, this is about as good as a plane could look. Pretty much my only criticism with this is the wings and the tail of the plane. I just don't think they look the best. But if you wanted to, you can even customize that. So yeah, of course, this kind of set's not going to be for everybody, but if this is the kind of thing that interests you, I think this is actually a really good representation of it. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!